Colombia found itself at odds with the United States over deportation flights. The Trump administration demanded Colombia accept its citizens being deported from the U.S. Colombia refused, sparking a diplomatic standoff. Concerns included humane treatment of deportees and use of military aircraft. The U.S. threatened economic penalties. The standoff escalated into a high-stakes diplomatic crisis. The world watched as two close allies locked horns. President Trump, known for his aggressive negotiating tactics, wielded the power of the U.S. economy. He threatened a 25% tariff on all Colombian goods. This could cripple Colombia's economy. Trump hinted tariffs could reach 50%. This sent shockwaves through Colombia's business community. The message was clear: defy the U.S. on deportations and face the consequences. At the heart of Colombia's resistance was President Gustavo Petro, a left-leaning leader with a strong commitment to human rights. Petro's stance against the deportations stemmed from his deep concern for the well-being of his citizens, even those residing in the United States. He refused to be bullied into accepting what he saw as an inhumane policy. Central to Petro's objections was the use of military aircraft for the deportation flights. He argued that deploying military planes for this purpose sent a hostile message and was needlessly provocative. It painted a picture of Colombians being treated as enemies of the state, a narrative he vehemently rejected. Instead of acquiescing to the U.S. demands, Petro offered a compromise, sending the Colombian presidential plane to transport the deportees. This gesture, while symbolic, underscored Petro's commitment to finding a humane solution. It was a clear signal that he was willing to cooperate, but not at the expense of his principles. Petro's stance resonated with many within Colombia and beyond. He was hailed as a leader willing to stand up to the Trump administration's bullying tactics, even at a significant economic cost. His actions highlighted the moral dimension of the immigration debate, pushing back against the dehumanization of migrants. Faced with mounting pressure and the looming threat of economic sanctions, Colombia ultimately agreed to accept the deportation flights. This decision, while likely driven by economic realities, did not signify a complete capitulation. Colombia managed to secure some concessions from the U.S. in the process. The U.S., in return for Colombia's cooperation, agreed to hold back on the threatened tariffs. This was a significant win for Colombia, allowing it to avoid a potentially devastating economic blow. The agreement signaled a de-escalation of the immediate crisis, but it did little to address the underlying tensions. However, the U.S. made it clear that its retreat on tariffs was conditional. Visa restrictions on Colombian officials would remain in place until the first deportation flight landed on Colombian soil. This conditionality underscored the fragility of the agreement and highlighted the mistrust that had developed between the two nations. Furthermore, the U.S. announced that Colombians arriving at U.S. airports would face increased scrutiny. This measure, while presented as a way to ensure compliance with immigration laws, raised concerns about potential profiling and discrimination against Colombian travelers. The agreement, while averting an immediate crisis, left many questions unanswered and did not fully restore the pre-crisis status quo. Beyond the geopolitical maneuvering and economic threats, the heart of this issue lay in the human cost of deportation. Each deportation flight represented the uprooting of lives, the separation of families, and the dashed dreams of individuals seeking a better future. The Trump administration's focus on mass deportations, while popular with a segment of the U.S. electorate, came at a significant human cost. It treated immigration primarily as a security threat, often overlooking the complex human stories behind migration flows. The Colombian government, while ultimately agreeing to accept the deportation flights, remained acutely aware of the human toll. They pledged to provide support and resources to returning deportees, helping them reintegrate into Colombian society. The saga between Colombia and the U.S. over deportation flights serves as a stark reminder of the complexities of immigration in the 21st century. It highlights the tension between national sovereignty, economic interests, and the moral imperative to treat all human beings with dignity and respect. As the world grapples with increasing migration flows, finding humane and sustainable solutions to these challenges remains a pressing global priority.